episode of the Movie Spoiler Alerts podcast. Today we're going to actually be talking about our first TV show, The Good Place. So we're going to go over a little bit of the story and then get into a little bit more in-depth discussion.
So we've only watched season 1. Season 2, they aired on September 20th of 2017. But we just watched season 1 like in a day. Yeah. So there is a big spoiler in this show, if you don't already know. And we're movie spoiler alerts. Yep. So we're going to spoil it for sure. So the show begins with Eleanor Shellstrop finding that she's dead, and she is sent by Michael to the Good Place, a heaven-like utopia that he designed to reward her for her righteous life. However, Eleanor realizes that she was sent there by mistake and must hide this, or she will probably be sent to the bad place, obviously the opposite of heaven, a type of hell. So she only tells her assigned soulmate, Chidi, who agrees to teach her how to be good, and she interacts closely with Tahani and her soulmate, Jianyu, who turns out to also be misplaced in the Good Place. Mm-hmm. And also the AI Janet. So each episode features some flashbacks from the main characters that leads to the very big spoiler. Yep. In the season finale, Michael reveals that that they're actually in the bad place, mm-hmm. and he designed it so that they would all torture each other. Which is a super big flip in the show. It's really great. So we're just going to go over a couple things because we really liked how much of a spoiler was at the end of it. And I really liked how surprised I was by the spoiler. So, we could start with favorite character. Who was your favorite character?
I don't know. Honestly, I really liked Michael. And with the spoiler, with the twist at the end, it made me like him more because he came off as almost a naive, but wanted to do well, but wasn't certain if he was doing well. And then when he turned out to actually be sinister, evil, and I guess technically another character who's a coworker of his is referred to as a demon, so I would assume he is also a demon. Yeah. I mean, to be revealed as a demon, that really did throw me. So I would say Michael, and then probably closely after Janet, just because every time she's on the screen, it's almost always hilarious.
It is, yeah. I'd have to say Jianyu or Jason is my favorite character. Only because I guess he kind of goes along with Janet. Every time he's on the screen, something funny. Yeah. You know, I just don't feel like I can pick the main character. But she actually, Kristen Bell plays the main character, Eleanor. I wasn't sure really what to think, and I think she did a fantastic job. Yeah. I really wasn't sure what to think from her.
A lot of times I can be put off by her. She, a lot of times, is supposed to be an annoying character, like especially like in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I mean, the whole movie's about not liking her. Yeah. And so that's a lot of times the opinion I have of her is I shouldn't like her. But in this, I actually liked her quite a bit.
Yeah, I guess I haven't seen her take on not that the character's serious, but like a serious, like long-standing role like this. So I was pleasantly surprised by her. So I already said the twist was definitely a surprise. I think anyone who watches it thinks that it is, but were you surprised by it?
Well, yeah, and definitely when you're watching the show, you're getting a feeling while they're in this good place. You're like, why is all this stuff happening if this is the good place? And you're like, I spot a couple flaws with the show, but then it turns out that you're just spotting glimpses of what the twist was, and it really did surprise me.
Yeah, throughout the show, especially with Tahani, I'm like, she doesn't seem like the greatest person. Like, Eleanor even points out, like, she just seems like, you know, not a good person at all. And, I mean, she raised a bunch of money for charity throughout her life, and that's why you think she's in the good place. But then you see these flashbacks, and you're like, okay, she was obviously only doing this to get, you know, approval by her parents. And then it shows her, like, being mad at her parent. It just didn't match up. Yeah. So,
well, and also,
never would have guessed, though.
Yeah, and also the fact that, like, supposedly there's, like, at the beginning they say something like 273 people are supposed to be in this perfect place. But it's only the 4 main characters that are being tortured. But then when you find out that all these other tertiary characters are all in on it, like demons that are in on it, then you're like, oh, because you're like, well, these people do seem like they're good, and we haven't seen anything that's actually wrong with them yet. So that's definitely it was all a very big surprise.
So each show or each episode ends with a cliffhanger. Mm-hmm. Did you like that aspect of the show, or do you like that in shows? I know you like Lost, and I just read that this was based, the cliffhanger part of it, they kind of have gotten that from Lost.
Yeah, and that actually was what the show made me think of in many ways, is Lost. And I know a lot of people don't like where Lost went, but I think most people would agree the first couple seasons, with how it ended with cliffhangers, it made it so good. And
that's probably why I watched it in like a day or two.
That's what I was going to say.
Because they're like 20-minute episodes, and then you're like, oh, what's going to happen next?
Yeah. I think I watched just while I was cleaning the house and doing stuff today, I seriously watched about 8 episodes today, just because it's so easy and it's so quick, and it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix...
I watched all but one in the same day, and the next day had to watch it like as soon as possible. Yeah. So what did you like about the show the most? Did you like the humor in the show? Did you like...
For me, like the show was definitely funny, but for me it was the concept. Like, I mean, there's a lot of funny shows. So what kept me was the concept and trying to figure out the situation that was going on and how this world was set up. That was what really got me, because there's so many funny shows that what kept me going was the fact that, like, this premise of this good place and there's a bad place, and what exactly is the bad place is not clear. And just kind of that whole structure is what really kept me going, was the overall story.
I think for me, I really liked that concept too. And the pilot episode, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, I don't know, heaven and hell. And once you got into the show a lot more, though, it definitely kind of all meshed together. And then there's that big twist that they're actually in the bad place. And I did like that too. But I did like the humor, and I immediately saw a comparison with Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, just in the humor, that it's kind of like dry and quick. Yeah. That you kind of have to really be paying attention to get the joke.
Yeah, and definitely you could probably rewatch it and catch a couple of jokes that you missed just because you blinked.
Definitely now rewatching it, now you're going to be like, oh, see, they said this, that really meant this. Yeah. So did you see any other similarities to any other shows? We've said Lost. I just said Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Did you see any other similarities?
I mean, certainly in terms of like the comedy and stuff, like 30 Rock, but in Parks and Rec, but just because it's the same production company. Yeah. But in terms of the story, it definitely had elements of other stories, but it felt fresh and new enough that it wasn't just like a workplace sitcom, or like it definitely made it have a much fresher appeal, that with it being this heaven-hellish area, that anything could happen, such as giant flying shrimp, and that's what kind of made it interesting to me. Was I don't know, I just didn't expect anything.
Yeah, I didn't expect that out of either. I guess that's what I was trying to say in the pilot. Like, okay, this is gonna be pretty straightforward. Yep. There's a bad place. There's a good place. It's literally called the Good Place. Yeah. So, then there's all this crazy stuff that happens. I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. Yeah. So one of the things that I guess I liked about the show too was the part where they couldn't swear.
Oh yeah, yep.
I was talking to a coworker today, and she brought up the show. I'm like, I literally watched that yesterday. I mean, the whole thing yesterday. And she had made fun of them too for the forking and the shirt and all of that. And I thought that was an interesting concept too, just because they said forking so much. Yeah.
Well, it kept the show. It kept it hard for me to place where I would consider it in terms of its maturity, because certain elements, like the theme of heaven and hell, I guess to a degree is a little more of an adult theme, but then like the language of the show is certainly not any swearing, because they can't swear. So just it created a very interesting element, and like it got to the point almost like watching a Battlestar Galactica, where when you read the word, just like in Battlestar Galactica, for those who don't know, they say frack instead of the F word. And so with this show, when you saw the word fork, you just kind of, in your mind, just instantly thought of it as the F word.
Yeah.
And so that's just what made it funny, is like eventually your brain started being like, oh, that's a bad word. They said shirt.
Yeah.
You know.
So because there's such a big twist in this show, I really liked going back through and seeing, like, was there any clues to this? Mm-hmm. And once you thought about it a little bit, there was. So Eleanor almost guesses it right away in the pilot when she says, my parents are probably in the bad place. Maybe they're being used to torture each other. It would work. Another one. Each of the 4 characters actually do say something throughout the show. So we have Eleanor. Tahani says in the 3rd episode, Eleanor, you just don't know what it's like to be in paradise and feel like something that is just not quite right. And in the pilot, Chidi says, I'm in a perfect utopia and I'm getting a stomach ache. And of course, Jason makes the comment about being on a prank show, which is brought up again in the finale. And in the finale, Janet says she literally cannot visit Jason in the bad place, and that's because they're already there.
Yeah.
So I liked all those little clues that were throughout the season. This one's really funny to me. So Heaven would have ice cream and not Froyo. Oh, yeah. And Michael actually makes a comment about this. Yeah. And this I never would have picked up. But he says in episode 6 how Froyo takes something great and ruins it a little. Yeah.
And how it's supposed to be very human in that.
And yeah.
The one thing that I just thought about is the fact that at the beginning of the episode, or the first episode, she asks, when she found out she's dead, she says, well, which religion got it right? And he's like, well, everybody got it about 5% right. And he's like, except, and he points at this picture of this wall on his wall, and it's kind of like how you'd see like in a Catholic church or something, like a picture of Jesus. And it's of this random guy, and he's apparently some guy who took mushrooms and got it like 92% correct. And I'm just curious if that's ever going to be mentioned again in the show. I doubt it, because I think it just was one funny side joke. But I think it would be a funny thing to bring back.
They might. I know there's a couple things out for season 2 now, but it'll be interesting to see what they bring.
Well, yeah, and especially with, and I don't know if we did or didn't say it, but they also, at the very end, after finding out that they were in the bad place, they had their memories erased at the end of the first season. So it seems like almost we're going to be starting back over again. So I guess there is a potential there. Probably not, but just something.
So, as we're talking about that finale, when they have their memories erased, Eleanor wakes up in the pilot originally, and she sees the sign, welcome, everything is fine. When she wakes back up at the end of this season, it says, welcome, everything is great, and it's slightly crooked. Okay. So, meaning that we are definitely going to see different things, and it'll be really interesting to see what is different. Yeah. So, overall, what would you give it as a rating?
I definitely say, as a TV show, which my TV show ratings are
slightly different.
are different than my movies. But I would definitely say it is probably in the 8 category. Especially as a comedy, that's very high. Because comedies for me most of the times are something that I put on while I'm doing something and I only half pay attention. And there's a lot of shows like Big Bang Theory, Modern Family, all those I like, but I don't like them that much. And I just put them on. Whereas something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I really like, and I gotta like focus on because I actually think it is extremely funny. And this I would put it the same category, though where Brooklyn Nine-Nine has kind of a forgettable episode-to-episode storyline, though they're funny, they're just the story's sometimes easy to forget. This show, I think, had a great story.
It's very strong.
It was always really funny, and I wanted to know, actually, about the world. Yeah. So I definitely would, as a comedy, I'd rank it very high.
So would you say an 8 is something that you'd watch it all over again? And
yeah, I mean, and like we said, is like to go back and find the clues. What did I miss? You know, where there's other shows where, like, I'm never going to rewatch Big Bang Theory.
I might rank it as a 9. Okay. I definitely would rewatch it. It reminded me so much of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and we both have rewatched that twice. Yep. Just because there's so many other funny things in it that you can find when you rewatch it. And so I definitely want to rewatch season
Yeah.
1 again, just because of the major twist at the end. Maybe not before I head into season 2, but I just found it so accessible, especially because it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
And so easy to watch because it's only like 20 minutes long.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it'd be a 9. I really enjoyed it as a comedy, and I really enjoyed it as having a strong plot overall.
Yeah, for me, I just want to see where this next season goes. And I have a lot of faith in it, but that's where I'm a little worried is just, I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen
next? As a season 1, that's how I'd rate it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? It could be like Lost.
Well, yeah.
Well,
but Lost was all the way good. Well, it dipped a little bit, but I liked it overall.
Yeah.
So
You're the only one.
I know.
I'm just kidding. You're probably not the only one.
I'm probably the only one. So.
That's it.
All right.
I mean, I could talk about it for a while, but...
All right, so we're going to try to do a couple more TV shows as well, interspersed with our movie discussions, and I think I'm going to be, in the next little bit, doing a couple of product reviews and stuff like that, so just trying to get more content on the channel. So
thanks for watching!
Yep, thanks for watching!